The coffee cup shook in his hand as he watched the woman at the corner table wipe her tears with a napkin already soaked through, her shoulders trembling under the soft cafe lights, while the man across from her stared at his phone as if the world had gone quiet. Outside, rain smeared the windows like a bad memory refusing to fade, and in that moment, a poor single father with worn shoes and tired eyes felt his chest tighten because he recognized that kind of pain too well, the kind that sneaks up on you in public and dares you to pretend you're fine when you're not. Before the story unfolds any further, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of compassion that can change lives when we least expect it. He had only come into the cafe to escape the rain and stretch the last few dollars he had until payday, a routine he knew by heart. His life had become a careful balancing act since his wife passed away 3 years earlier, leaving him to raise a young daughter alone in a small apartment that smelled faintly of detergent and old books. Every morning began before sunrise, packing lunches, braiding hair with clumsy fingers, and walking his daughter to school before heading to a job that barely covered rent. He did not complain because he had learned that survival leaves little room for self-pity, but the weight of responsibility lived permanently in his shoulders, bending him just a little more each year. That afternoon, he chose a seat near the window, counting coins before ordering the cheapest thing on the menu. He noticed the woman only because of the quiet intensity of her sadness. She was dressed neatly, the kind of effort people make when they hope something good might happen, yet her face carried the unmistakable look of someone realizing that hope had been misplaced. Across from her sat a man who seemed impatient, disconnected, already halfway gone. The air around their table felt heavy, and even from a distance, it was clear something had gone wrong. The single father did what he always did when he saw pain he could not fix, he looked away and told himself it was not his place. He focused on the rain, on the steam rising from his cup, on the ache in his hands that never quite went away. But when he glanced back, he saw the man stand abruptly, toss some bills on the table, and walk out without looking back. The woman remained, staring at the empty chair, her face collapsing as the truth settled in. She covered her mouth, and the tears finally came without restraint. Something inside the father shifted then, a memory of sitting alone in a hospital hallway years ago, holding a phone that would never ring again, feeling invisible in his grief. He knew that look of being abandoned when you needed someone to stay. Without thinking too much, he stood up, walked to the counter, and paid for an extra coffee, his heart pounding as if he were about to step onto a stage he had never rehearsed for. He placed the cup gently on her table and nodded before turning to leave, hoping the small gesture might soften the sharp edge of her humiliation. But as he passed, he heard her take a shaky breath, and he paused, unsure why his feet refused to move. She looked up at him then, eyes red but clear, and something about the way she gathered herself struck him deeply. She did not ask for pity. Instead, she thanked him quietly, her gratitude carrying more weight than the words themselves. He sat down only because she gestured to the empty chair, and in that shared silence, the cafe seemed to fade away. Without direct conversation, she explained in broken fragments how the blind date had been her attempt to start over after years of caring for a sick parent who had recently passed away. She spoke of loneliness, of feeling invisible, of wondering if life had already given her all the love she was ever meant to receive. The father listened, not as a rescuer but as someone who understood the language of loss intimately. He shared his own story indirectly, mentioning his daughter, the long days, the constant fear of failing the one person who depended on him completely. He spoke of exhaustion and hope living side by side, of nights when he fell asleep fully dressed because it was easier than facing another morning. There were no dramatic declarations, only the steady unfolding of two lives shaped by hardship, meeting briefly in a place neither expected.